Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be making our very own custom tobacco press. And we're going to be pressing some of my Frankenstein mixture into a Frankencake. So I'm going to show you how to make your own press at home and press whatever kind of tobacco you want. Okay guys, let's first go over what we're going to need for this project. This here is a 2-inch poplar dowel. Doesn't matter what the wood is, but it needs to be 2 inches in diameter. That's 4 feet of it. I'm only going to use 1 inch, so I'll have plenty of wood left over for later. Alternatively, you could just get a 2x4 and cut a 2-inch circle out of it, but I was lazy about cutting circles. You're also going to need a 2-inch PVC pipe. Again, this is 2 feet, and I'm going to use about 8 inches of it, maybe less. You're also going to need a big old C-clamp, a wood saw, and a hacksaw. That's it. Step 1, we're going to take 1/2 inch of the end of this dowel off, and then we're going to take another 1/2 inch off, so we're going to have 2 1/2 inch sections of 2-inch dowel. Of course, you're going to use your wood saw for that. Okay guys, we've got our 2 pieces of 2-inch dowel. You can tell these aren't even close to the same diameter. The good news is it doesn't even matter. You don't have to be perfect at all. They're not square, they're not anything. I just hacked off 2 pieces of 2-inch dowel. It does not matter. They just need to be the right diameter to fit inside of this 2-inch pipe. The width doesn't really matter at all. The next step is I've got a 4-inch C-clamp. So I'm going to cut off maybe 3 3/4 inches of this PVC pipe. Of course, for that we're going to be using the hacksaw. Okay guys, the next step is to sand off and deburr this PVC pipe. The very last thing you want is little pieces of PVC in your smoking tobacco. That's not going to taste very nice at all. And the last step is to do the same thing to the wood. We don't want all these little splinters on our smoking tobacco either. So just hit it with a file, hit it with some sandpaper until it's relatively smooth. It sure ain't got to be perfect, but just until no little splinters are going to break off in the tobacco. Last step before we assemble it is to go ahead and take this piece of PVC inside and rinse it out real good in the sink. Again, we just want to get all those little pieces of, all that PVC dust from the sanding, all the little pieces of PVC. We don't want any small pieces that can wind up in the tobacco. Alright guys, believe it or not, that is it. Now it's time to assemble our press. We're going to take one of the pieces of dowel, put it in the bottom of this piece of PVC pipe. It's a snug fit, but it's got plenty of room to slide around in there. The next, you'll see here I have aromatic mixture. Actually it says Aero X, but it stands for aromatic mixture. Some people call this a Hoover blend, some people call it a Franken blend, whatever you call it. This is all the little last dregs of aromatic tobacco that I had out of different tins and different bulk packages and whatever. Just threw it into one jar and shook it all up. So there's all kind of different tobaccos in here. We're going to go ahead and load this piece of PVC up. Whoops. This is why you put paper towels down so your wife doesn't kill you when there's tobacco all over the counter. Alright, that thing is full. The good news is we can take this paper towel and fold it up and dump the excess tobacco back into the jar. The next step is we're going to take the second piece of dowel and place it on top. Now the C-clamp comes into play. You're very slowly going to tilt this up and grab both ends of it because you don't want anything to fall out. Now what we're going to do is place that into the C-clamp and tighten it down. I've never done this before, so you guys are on a journey with me. So we kind of want to get that plunger on the bottom of the C-clamp as much in the middle of that bottom piece of wood as we can. Okay guys, we've got that compressed maybe 2/3 of the way down, and I'm starting to feel some real resistance now. So the tobacco is definitely starting to compress. I'm going to go ahead and crank it down until I just can't crank on it any longer. Okay guys, we've got that compressed about halfway down the tube. So a full tube of fairly tightly compressed tobacco all the way down to nothing. And it's a little wonky in there, but that's okay. I think it's still going to turn out alright. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set that aside for 3 weeks. 21 days. Every 3 or 4 days we're going to go out and see if we can crank a little bit more pressure onto it. Again, we want to crank it pretty much as tight as we can, and when they do crumble cakes in factories and stuff, they're applying tons and tons of pressure, so we want to make sure we're putting enough pressure on this to get it compressed enough to be considered a crumble cake. I don't think I can get any more out of it. Maybe a little bit more out of it. There we go. Well, we're just going to let that sit now, and hopefully the next time I see you guys, that will be a nice compressed crumble cake. A Frankencake, if you will. Until then, you guys already know what to do. Keep it smoky. 8 inches of it, maybe less. You're going to need Jesus.